Welcome to a new year here in New Zealand. Most of you are still waiting for the new year to come in. We've already got it. Yes, 2023. Here we go. Woohoo! Is it going to be as busy as 2022? For me, probably. Might be hard to beat it, but it's probably going to be just about as busy. But we'll wait and see. Who knows what the future holds? Anyway, here we are in the workshop. It's here in New Zealand. It's the morning of New Year's Day, and I'm doing you a live stream. Seriously, has my life come to this? Right, so let me just refresh the laptop, and we'll see where we end up. Have we got a live stream? We do. It's on the Tinternet. Right, let's see who we've got in the workshop. Let the old comments catch up, and then we'll be there. The one benefit of one of the benefits of New Year's Day here in New Zealand being on a Sunday is everybody's still in bed. There are no lawn mowers running yet, no weed whackers, strimmers, no those little blowy devices where they blow the grass and the leaves around the garden for the hell of it. There's none of that. It's absolutely stony quiet at the moment. You could hear a little bird fart. You absolutely could. Right, who have we got? We've got Simon Roll. Happy New Year. And Car. Thank you, Simon. The little Jimny arrived early. It was premature. So it's currently been, mollycoddled and looked after because it's still very young. Yeah, it was supposed to arrive middle of January. And it arrived a bit early. And the guy rang us up and said, well, in fact, the guy is, bear with me, the guy is Neil Dempsey. And he is the salesman, I believe, at Ingham Suzuki in Taupo. Top bloke. So he rang me up and said, hey, it's here. Do you want it before Christmas? And I nearly went, oh, no, we'll wait till the new year because, I've got to sort a few things out. And this little voice inside my head went, no, get it now. So I said, no, mate, you get it sorted out and we'll get it grabbed before Christmas closed down. And we did. On a Tuesday afternoon, we popped down. Took way too long because I just talk about stuff. And but eventually we got away about 5:30, closing time. Made it home. And Mrs. Mechanic is extremely happy. We have been out for a little drive, but more on that shortly. Let's find out who else we've got. Sheldon, good morning. Sheldon is in the workshop on New Year's Day. Good morning, good buddy. Sheldon says, Happy New Year, Andy and crew. Thank you, Sheldon, for popping in. Appreciate that. Roger Heaps, Happy New Year, Andy and crew. Word for word. It's great. Good morning, Roger, and welcome to the new year. I really wonder what this year holds for us. I really do. We've had a pretty turmoil time over the last couple of years. And for me personally, at least, I've got very much out of a routine. It's been very ad hoc. 1 week you're doing this. Next week you've got to change your plans and do that. Plan to go to the South Island, catch the big sea. Cancel all that. Feel ill for a while. It's just been stop, start. And it's a bit unsettling. It's going to take a while to get back into a routine, I think. Richard Perry, Happy New Year, Andy and crew. GB, thumbs up. Cheers, Richard, and a Happy New Year to you too, sir. Hope you had a good Christmas. Jim K, there he is. Jim, I want one so bad. For those that don't know, and Jim definitely knows, basically Suzuki, the car manufacturer Suzuki, or the car division, should I say, had pulled out of selling cars in the US a few years ago, which is I think it's a real shame because Suzuki's actually a pretty good little car. And I've been a massive fan of their Jeeps since I got my driving license. My first Jeep was an SJ410 hardtop, Japanese built, little 1 litre engine, hardtop. Great little vehicle. I have many fond memories in that little Jeep. And then I rolled it into somebody's garden. But I fixed it, and it was called George II. put a, what was it? A Suzuki Swift Mark 1 GTI in the little Jeep, and it went like stink. Great fun. Kept all the fuel injection and everything. And then a few years later, I put a diesel in it. I put an SD17 Nissan engine, non-turbo. That was really good for rock crawling as well. Anyway, where do we get to? So sorry, Jim. Maybe I can send you one across. Who knows? Maybe you can get compliance on it. Probably will over there. Matty, England, time traveller. Yes, I'm ahead of time. New Zealand is a great place because it's I think it's Gisborne, which is right out on a little sort of sticky out bit in the North Island on the east coast. They're the ones that are the furthest ahead of time. Not that they're in a different time zone, but things seem to happen there first. Like, you know, sunrises and stuff like that. Now, who else have we got? We have got the Giant Governor. Good morning, the Giant. Hello, Andy and family. Happy New Year from South Africa. Thank you, the Giant, and the same to you, sir. I hope 2023, for all of you really, holds prosperity, no huge dilemmas and problems that you have to solve, and good health. Obviously, health has to be number one. Simon, Mr. Rawl. So, it's a new car. Scan tool then. Have you got one in mind? I do like the one that Ivan's using at the moment. Is it something Pro or something? I don't know. I'll have to check. The one that does the tree, you know, with all the different modules and stuff. I really like that. And he uses it a lot. And yes, I should really get one. But at the moment, I have to say, 2022 and late 2021, sort of combined, the last sort of 16 months have been very, very, very expensive, really expensive. I bought a digger, I bought a monkey bike, and I bought a new car in that space of time. Now, sure enough, you know, they're on finance. I've got to, you know, I'm committed for life, basically. But there was a fair deposit went down on them all, and I mean, the digger's already a quarter paid for, which is fantastic. Little monkey bike, the same. It's nearly all, you know, there's not that much still outstanding. So, but still, very, very expensive few months. So 2023, I think from a financial perspective, pretty much a lockdown. Yeah, batten down the hatches and let's just take things a bit easier. I did find out the other day, actually, that mortgages come down a lot. I've paid quite a lot of the mortgage off, so very happy with that too, actually. Now, so yes, Simon, scan tool, still work in progress, but pretty confident it's going to be the one that Ivan's currently using. AJ44, Happy New Year, Andy and crew. Thank you, AJ44. AJ will call you. Yes, I think 2023 is going to be a great year. I really do. He continues to say, still New Year's Eve here in Canada. It is. It's pretty much New Year's Eve still in most of the world. So, you know, it's great to get there first. I'll let you know what it's like by the end of the live stream. Oh, my word. Tasfun Gatun Argachu. I think I probably got the last word right. Argachu. Happy New Year, my best teacher from Ethiopia. Please come here with new modern vehicles. There you go. You don't want modern vehicles. Actually, you just don't want them because they're really hard to fix, really, really complicated. And, you know, being able to sort of, if you ever break down the middle of nowhere, there's a very good chance you're not going to get going again. It's not like the old Land Rovers and the original Suzuki Jeeps. You know, points ignition. Man, you could fix them just about anywhere. They were great, those things. And I still would really, really like to get a Japanese-built SJ410 or a 413. But it's going to be a while yet. Now then, what have we got? MF50B, codename. Evening, Andy and crew. Happy New Year. MF, thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. I'm surprised we've got so many people online, actually. I was expecting probably 2 or 3, given the fact it's sort of New Year's Day. Here, anyway. And you guys should be partying, right? You know, you shouldn't be listening to a live stream. You should be out there just rocking it up. Jim K, can I have the lotto numbers? Very good question, actually. Yeah, I could do that. I could import one so much faster if I won. You could probably buy a fleet. You know, you could have one for every day. You see, Roger's after the food already. What's the pie? Well, I actually thought I'd done this, but we checked the leaderboard, the scoreboard, and it turns out, and I know it's the new year and we're still doing a pie review, but you know, what the hell. Macatoo pies, honest to goodness, okay, registered trademark, steak and cheese. Now, this is a 200-gram pie, which is pretty much the standard size for New Zealand. Anything under that, is a bit lightweight, and the big pies tend to be about 230, 220, 230. So it's an average size pie. So we'll get to that very shortly. Let me catch up with the comments first, though. So there you go, Roger. You know which one it is. Kevin, Machine NZ. Hey, Andy and Mrs. Mechanic. Happy New Year. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. I think Mrs. Mechanic's still in bed. We had it, obviously, we stayed up till midnight. Only just stayed up till midnight because we both had an early start yesterday and had a very good friend come down, actually, which was really nice. Didn't get any work done at all. That's a lie, actually. That's wrong because I was setting the workshop up, just getting it all a bit tidier, for Stu to come down and his wife. And one of our neighbours wandered across to sort of wish me, Merry Christmas and stuff. And he says, how are you doing? How was your 2022 year? I said, mate, it's been hard work. I've been asked to do all sorts of stuff. People just keep asking me to do things, And it's just, I said, it's nice to have a bit of time off and just chill out, which is what I've done for the last few days. It's been really good. Almost like a big sea recovery period as well. Just chilling out, doing a little bit in the workshop here and there, but nothing major. Nice to do, not to do any jobs for anybody. And the look on his face, he sort of dropped a little bit. And sorry, you all right? He says, need to ask you a favour. I'm like, okay, here we go. Right, what's up? What can I do for you? He says, I need some welding doing. Oh, okay. What's up? He says, my tractor lawnmower, John Deere tractor lawnmower, the deck, it's getting pretty rusty. And one of the main brackets, the one that controls the height adjustment, had ripped out of the deck, mainly due to corrosion. It had just metal fatigue and broken. So I said, look, hey, bring it down. I've probably got about an hour before my mate turns up, and we'll get it fixed right now for you. And he was over the moon. He almost sort of scampered across. He's an old bloke, and he pretty much scampered across the road to his house, grabbed his lawnmower, and sure enough, within a few minutes, it was in the workshop. So we had it jacked up and inspected the crack, and yeah, it's not too bad. Where's the fuel tank on it? He says, under the seat. Oh, look, there it is. It's see-through as well, and it's about 4 inches away from where I'm welding. This is great. How to start the last day of 2022, blow the workshop up. So I thought, no worries, we'll give it a go. So I had a look around, and the only venting of the fuel tank was the fuel cap. So I put one of my rubber gloves. It's probably still on the vehicle. Actually, probably going to break down on him. Put a rubber glove over the fuel cap, just to stop any fumes, because I've had fuel tanks blow up before and it's not fun. And got the little die grinder out and cleaned it all up, and put a block of wood under the deck, and then lowered the jack down a bit to sort of close up the gap on the brake, and welded it up. Got the MIG set up and got it all welded up and painted it for him, and he was absolutely over the moon. We had it all done in about half an hour. It wasn't a big job, and he was really, really, genuinely happy, and I was happy for him. It's nice to help people, And he says, "Well, how much do you want for it?" I said, "Nah, mate, you're all good. You cut the grass for us out the front of the house down again." I says, "It's on me, Enjoy your New Year's Eve." And he says, "No. What do you drink?" I says, "I normally drink cider, but off you pop. You go back to your family. Go and cut some grass. Let me clean the workshop up." And anyway, Stu turned up, and I've got a photo for you. Stu is currently on a drive around New Zealand and it's I think it's a 1954. I'm not too sure on the model. You might recognise it. It's a 1954. Let me try and rotate the picture for you. There we go. 1954 Vauxhall, and he's done absolutely tons of work to it. It's a beautiful little car, really good condition. He's done all the brakes and all the bushes and bearing. It's just done absolutely everything on it. And he's driven all the way up from Invercargill. He went right up, I'm sure he was up towards Auckland, maybe even further north than that. Not too sure how far he got. And now he's starting his trip heading back south. And I think he's got about another week to go on his trip. So that's Stu and his wife. And wish him all the best on his journey. He's probably going to cover more kilometres than I did on the DR, to be fair. Absolute top bloke. He's a real engineer. You know, he's a whiz at building engines and diagnosing faults and stuff. He's a real thinker. You know, he works stuff out. He's not so. He'll happily admit he's not so good on the modern electrics and fuel injection and stuff because that wasn't really his era. So I tend to lean back onto Stu for in-depth sort of just brainstorming on maybe an engine fault or something. And he's a really great guy. And we got talking yesterday. He was here for nearly basically all day, and we had a barbecue lunch and stuff. It's very nice. And we got talking about a few cases that we've had over the last year. And he got onto the oscilloscopes, picoscope. And as you know, not many of the New Zealand dealers, only maybe 2 or 3, have actually got scopes. And he really wants to get into using an oscilloscope. And we got talking about a few bits and pieces. And he's watched a lot of my videos on basic videos using the scope on a few bits and pieces, which include the setup of the scope as well. So he's very keen. So I said, look, I'll tell you what I've got. I do have my original 2-channel scope. It's not an automotive one. It only cost me like $220. It was cheap. But it's been sat in the cupboard for years. Haven't used it since I got the big scopes. From me to you, this is now yours. I gave it to him. And he was absolutely over the moon. So he's going to go, when he gets back home, he's going to have a little play around. And I said, look, one of the easiest things to do with his scope, just to get the hang of the setup and the time base and stuff, he's got a few bikes in his workshop. Grab one of your bikes, plumb it up to back probe one of the indicators, and turn the indicators on, and then you're going to get you're going to get a real simple, slow waveform to play around, and just to get the time base, the voltage, and everything nice and right on the screen. And then once you've got that right, choose something else on the bike. It's too old for a TPS, but anyway, find something else, maybe coil primary. He needs to buy an attenuator though. He hasn't got one of those, so I did warn him: don't do your coil primary. And don't do an injector on a fuel injected vehicle until you get an attenuator. Otherwise, it won't be happy. The scope's got built-in protection, but it's not a good idea to chuck that kind of voltage through it. Anyway, where do we get to? Machine NZ, where's my Jimny? Where we get to? Kev Straw, Monochrome Racing just dropped in to say Happy New Year. We'll watch it back later in the week. No problem, Kev. You have a good evening, sir. Kevin's back. Jimnys are fantastic, so capable for off-road. They can pretty much go anywhere. One of the real benefits of the original Suzuki Jeeps, I mean, these are obviously a little bit heavier, but it's all down to weight. The little SJ410's pretty underpowered, to be honest. Just enough, really, for most applications. Not towing, by the way. But super light, and they tend to bounce across. Plus, the track, the width of the axle and the tires, was a lot smaller than most 4-wheel drives. So when you were going down a track, you'd be in one rut, and your other 2 wheels, say on the right-hand side of the vehicle, you'd be up on the middle of the track, which gave you a lot more ground clearance. And that's why they did ever so well off-road. Your big Land Rovers and Land Cruisers and stuff, they'd all be in the ruts of the track because that was the normal vehicle that would be going down that track, and that's how the ruts wore. So really good fun, really cool little Jeeps, and it's a terrible shame really that the SJ410s and the 413s are quickly disappearing. They were a bit of a rock box, unfortunately. The Japanese ones were better. The Spanish ones really rusted out. They were built in Santander, and I don't think they understood what rust proofing. In fact, they didn't even paint the inside of the sills and stuff. There was pretty much, wouldn't say bare metal, but just primer in a lot of the places. And it was so thin, it didn't take long in England for them to start to rot out. And that's what killed the vast majority of them in the UK, was just rust. Failed the MOT, and then people would sell them off. And I used to buy hundreds of them, literally hundreds. And I'd pay £100, maybe £200 for one, for a complete vehicle. You know, it was cheap as chips, really was. Daniel Bedell. Hey, buddy, how are you doing? I'm doing just fine, Daniel. Thank you very much. I did see a message pop up from you the other day, but Mrs. Mechanic banned me from using my phone during the Christmas period, so only family stuff. So sorry about that. Daniel goes on to say, just got done some repairs to some storage lockers at a facility today. Oh, very good, mate. It's good to see you're working on New Year's Eve. Really? Take some time off. Simon, did you see any of the UK new? A walrus has turned up. Oh, news. A walrus has turned up in Scarborough Harbour. Scarborough Harbour. Just laying around happy and resting. A walrus? What the hell? He's definitely a bit lost, that guy. Wow. Cheers, Simon. Daniel says again, Happy New Year to Mrs. Mechanic, Mr. Mechanic, and Mr. Mechanic. That's very formal. And crew. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. Daniel goes on to say, I'm still working. Got lots of odd jobs to do before the new year. I've got loads of odd jobs to do around the house. Haven't done any of them yet. I'm going to be in trouble. Promise, Mrs. Mechanic. Hey, come Christmas, bit of time off. I'll get all those little fixy things done around the house. Haven't done it yet. Kevin, is that a Vauxhall Velox? No, I don't know if it's a Velox or not. Stu did tell me, to be honest. What I can do is I've got the registration ECK650. Right, hang on a minute. ECK650. Bear with me. I'm going to go on to Car Jam, which is a New Zealand website where you can put what was it? I can't remember what it was now. Bear with me, my memory's crap. ECK650, okay. That one, ECK650. Right, here we go. This is what it is. It is a Velox, you're right, 1954, so I got the year right. Vauxhall Velox Grey Saloon. It has got a 2.2 litre engine in it. It says here 2.3, but Stu was saying it was 2.2, so I'll go with that. He knows his stuff. 5-seater. Imported and then built up. So they were sent across to New Zealand in a kit form, and then they were actually assembled here in New Zealand. That's pretty cool to know. He's actually got two of them, believe it or not. One of them is still restoring, but that one is obviously good to go. It sounds lovely, actually. He really likes it, but there's no synchro on first gear, he tells me. So you've got to get the hang of it. It's it's a bit crunchy if you're not careful. But yeah, Vauxhall Velox, you're absolutely right. Well spotted. Daniel, sorry I was a few minutes late to the party. Daniel, don't worry about it. I was nearly very late to the party. Although I must say, it was really nice to have a Sunday off from the live streams. It really, really was. And we were discussing, probably about November time, about doing the live streams every other Sunday. So I'm really keen on doing that, actually. So let me know your thoughts on it. It just gives me one lie in a fortnight, be nice. See what you think. Simon, will pop a 10-to-1 attenuator in the post for him. What? Really? Oh, mate, you're a top bloke if you're going to do that. Thank you, Simon. He'll be a very, very happy chap. Appreciate that. Oh, Simon, what I'll also say to you is, hang on, bear with me. I'll be back in a sec. In fact, let's go and do the pie, and we'll grab it on the way back. So, I'll turn you around, 3, 2... Oh, in fact, I've got to open the pie first. Jeez, honestly, I've not done a live stream for 2 weeks, so here we go. Pie is being opened. And there it is, the pie. Quick spin round. Lid looks pretty... Oh, that went me coffee. Lid looks pretty good. Obviously, that puff pastry, again, it's very popular on pies over here. It's had some impact damage. Bugger, a little bit of a crack there, look. Need some filler on there. And, oh, M for Akitu. So obviously all their pies get an M on the bottom. Nice, been branded. Okay, right, to the pie warmer. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom! Okay, bum, 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 bum. Right, yes. And Stu actually has done lots of these Triumph gearboxes, so I'll be relying on him for some help, I think. Now, pie. Oh, we've got a new Castrol sign. Bum, bum, bum. Look at that. Nice. And over here, look at. I'm going to read this through to you. Classic tool in hand. Rods polished, joints greased, and fluids drained. Full service garage, satisfaction guaranteed. Very nice. I think a great addition to the workshop there. Just to bling it out some more. Right, here we go. Let's get that opened up. Bum, bum, bum. And pie warmer down. Pie goes in. 23 minutes approximately. That'll do. There we go. No, I haven't cleaned it yet. Okay. And I was going to grab something, wasn't I? Oh, a new sticker. Look at that. Wheels spin, mud flies, and panties fall. Yes, Mrs. Mechanic wasn't over happy about that one, but you know, such is life. Right, Simon, you know what I keep in this drawer, don't you? I keep in here. Oh, the phone started. The little tiny tool that he made me, which is extremely useful for doing the caliper bolts. Now, Simon probably knows what I'm going to say. Simon, it's made of aluminium. And as you know, you've put some little threads on the inside there, look. And unfortunately, I have worn it out. It threw one, one of the pins, got a bit wobbly and flew off the lathe. So I managed to sort of, you know, continue to use it to get the job done. But you mentioned you might have some stainless steel ones now. If you wouldn't mind sending me one, that'd be great. Right, there you go. We're back. Yes, so it's probably done a couple of 100 pins, and it finally bit the bullet on that last service that I did. So yeah, the little threads are not looking too good. It is sort of still functional if you wind them all the way down, you know, onto the threads. And I would probably admit that, you know, I only normally put them in hand tight. I think if I'd been putting them in a bit, just give them a little nip with some pliers, it probably would be still okay and get a few more out of it. But it is getting close, really close. As luck would have it, at this point in time, I don't have any more to service. There's been no more phone calls, although there is still 2 clubs that are outstanding. That's a total of 5 more machines to service. I have no idea when I'm going to get those done because, well, in February will be the South Island trip again, and that's a 3-week trip, so I don't know. Hey, we'll get around to looking around the Jimny in a minute, but let's catch up with the comments again. So thank you, Simon. Really, really appreciate that. I mean, that's definitely going above and beyond, is that. Daniel, that's why I was a few minutes late to your show. Hey, don't worry about it, Daniel. It's all good. Alan Cook, hiya. Good morning, Alan. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2023. Feeling really old now. Brandon Mazkowitz. Happy New Year, Andy and crew. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate that. Coffee's going cold. And Happy New Year to you too, sir. May it be prosperous and a good health. Healthy. Simon, did I not put a helicoil in them? Or spot a few out? Oh, no, this one, I think. Now, I'm certain it is just aluminium. Or maybe, I don't know. It doesn't look like a helicoil. Not in that one. I'm sure it's not, because there was a little bit of aluminium flying out. Sorry. Now then, where do we get to? Simon again. They're drilled all the way through to use a hex key to tighten the pin. Bugger. You see, the thing is, Simon, I put this in the chuck in the lathe, right? So now the rear is no longer accessible unless I had a really, really long hex key, right? So I just hold the chuck and wind the pin in and turn the lathe on, and clean it up. Yeah. That's why it's got a hole in the bag. Duh. Water plonker. But anyway, you know, can't be taken out of the chuck every time to put a pin in. Got to be efficient. Time is money, right? Dear, oh dear. Anyway, good man. Mike Adams. Hey, you all, on a rainy Tennessee Saturday afternoon. Well, I will say to you now, it's been baking hot here in New Zealand. On Friday, it hit 30 degrees C, which is pretty damn hot. I did buy, here we go, more money. I did buy one of those portable air conditioning units. Now, you know, I've often thought, you know, probably not really very good. So I did a bit of research when I was up in Auckland last, and I thought, no, I've got a bit of spare cash, not blown tons on Christmas presents. You know, been a bit of a Grinch this year, to be fair. And I spotted one that had a really good rating, made in Italy, really, really good rating, lots of good reviews. And it seemed to be about the most powerful one that I could find, which usually is what I tend to go for. So I bit the bullet. I found 2 or 3 places that had them in stock. So I went for the place that was selling them on special offer at the moment. So I saved a couple of $100 on that. Came down to $1,200. Still a lot of money, but even so. So I thought, no, we'll give it a go. Because, you know, over Christmas we watch a lot of movies, that kind of thing, and we're in the lounge, and it does get really hot, and it's not very comfortable, to be fair, on a hot day. So we plumbed it all up. Man, is it good. It's really, really good. So very, very happy with that. Great purchase. Mrs. Mechanic was super happy that I picked it up. So yeah, a great purchase, actually. It was definitely worth the money, and makes summertime just, even, you know, I don't mind too much being outside during the day and it's hot and it's sweaty and stuff. But once you go for a shower, you know, previously without it, you know, you get in the lounge within half an hour or so, it's still hot in an evening, and you're perspiring again. Whereas with that, it's cold. It's great, really. In fact, last night I even put a hoodie on. It was that cold. Didn't want to turn it off, obviously. Just put a hoodie on, you know. But it was really, really good. It was like being back in England. It was fantastic. Now, where do we get to? AJ 44. I was wondering if you ever finished rebuilding the metal lathe. I haven't noticed any more videos. No, it's all in bits. The bed's over there with a few of the big bits, and all the rest is in drawers. Some of it's all been cleaned up. Mrs. Mechanic's done a great job. Other bits still need to be cleaned, and I do still need a few more bits for it. Ben is aware that it's his lathe. He's sort of worked it out now. But this last year, I've been way too busy. I've been doing a lot of servicing on the Surf Club ROVs, and of course the workshop's been pretty much taken over by making those plates, the footwell support plates for 450 and 700cc ATVs. And so far we've made 350 kits, and roughly there's 10 components per kit. So that's 3,500 parts that have to be machined, prepared for spraying, you know, painting, whether it's sandblasting or whether it's tumbling in the cement mixer, and then sprayed. It's been a massive job, and we now have another batch to do, which will be starting today, because today is actually quite cool. It's really nice. It's going to be about 23 degrees today, so the weather forecaster person says. So we're going to crack on and get hopefully most of the drilling done today, and then we'll get it finished tomorrow. And then Mrs. Mechanic will be spending the rest of the week in front of the sandblasting cabinet, blasting the big plates, whilst the small stuff gets tumbled in the cement mixer. So by next weekend, the plan is we should be able to get them sprayed, and then I'm back to work. So I'll be going up to Auckland at some point. We can get them all packed up, and I can get them delivered. And then that's that batch done, and probably the last batch we ever make. Most likely. I don't think we'll get approval to do any more, to be honest. So the lathe video, the little Myford, the rebuild side of it, is just going to sit in abeyance until I actually get some real time to do it. I've got to get the old Bonnie finished, get that out of the workshop. I've got Jared's go-kart to do. I mean, that's been here for about 2 years now. It's not a big job. It really isn't. I've just got to get on with it. So I want to allocate some time to that. I'm feeling really bad about it now. And it's whenever we go to the pub, you know, me and Jared for a pint, it's the joke, you know. It's, oh, is the go-kart done? Nah, he knows I'm busy, but I did promise to get it done. And his little lad's getting bigger, you know. It needs to get sorted out. I mean, there's going to be a few other issues. He's got a new engine for it. But it's not that big a job, and it'll make some great videos. So I need to get on with it. Oh, cigarette's gone out. That's not on, is it? Where do we get to? Daniel, that was me sending some pictures. My phone went off. Oh, hang on then. Bear with us, Daniel. I'm still getting used to doing live streams again, so. Right, here we go. Oh, Roger Heaps, Happy New Year, mate. Thank you very much, Roger. Yes, fireworks. It's tinder dry in the garden here, and the grass is pretty long. We've not cut it for a while in the back garden. And they were setting off quite a lot of fireworks last night, and I was thinking, man, we're going to have a fire. You know, we really are going to have a fire in the back garden. But it's still there. We didn't have a fire, which is good. Right, Daniel, what have we got? So a little sneaky peek before it goes live. I have to fix the door to 3 units. Oh, here we go. Look, so these are like lockers and stuff. God, my internet's crap. These are like lockers and stuff here. Look, boom. Look at that. So you've been welding up the frames and stuff by the looks of it. Fixing the frames, bolting to the wall. Good man. It's always good to do. I used to do quite a lot of site work with the MIG and stuff, but in the end I just sort of turned away from it because it was just too much hassle. Very good. Looks excellent, Daniel. Well done, matey. Good money. Super job. I used to make bicycle racks, actually, and sell them. Those are like the 2 bits of box section with some like solid steel 10mm hoops on them. And we used to bend the hoops. You'll laugh at this. I had an old, was it a 12-inch? Yeah, 12-inch rim, steel rim, on the tire machine. And it had, I just welded a bit of tube on it, and then I could bend the solid bar around the rim. Just press the button on the tire machine turns, and it gave it a nice bend, and then cut it off with the slick disc. Made hundreds of those, hundreds. Made some good money out of it. But that was when I was at Unitech. I was doing that. Now then, Mike Adams. That's right, Andy. When you're making your own tool, it doesn't necessarily right. Just functional for you, right? Absolutely. Pete Woodfine. Hey, Andy and crew. Good morning, Pete. Welcome back to the workshop, good buddy. We've got 31 viewers. What's going on? Pete Neves. Good day, Andy and crew. Mrs. Mechanic AM. Mrs. Mechanic, hope everyone had a good Christmas. It's raining cats and dogs in California. You're getting a lot of, well, that's a good thing, actually. California's a bit dry, isn't it? You could do with the rain. Simon. Well, if he's getting bigger, then the go-kart needs a better engine. 350Y PVS. No, if we had a 350Y PVS engine, Ben would put his name on it. And in fact, he came down over Christmas. It was really nice to see him, actually. He was here for a few days. And we did a digger challenge. Mrs. Mechanic was doing that. That's on Facebook. If you've got Facebook, check it out. I posted a video of Mrs. Mechanic driving the digger on the backhoe, and we set up a little bucket challenge for her. So check it out. It's good fun. And he went through he's got a shed down here that he built, and he went through his shed and got all his TDR parts, all the engine parts from there. He's got a lot in Auckland, and he's been collating what he's got because he's been collecting stuff for quite some time, and he's very pleased, actually. But he's still on the lookout for some more stuff. We've got 4 bikes now. One is on the road. Wait, so the Red Joe's on hold, but that's his road bike, on one of his road bikes. And then we've got 3 project bikes. So we've got lots and lots to do over the next few years. He's set his goal of a 2-year window to get 3 of them done, and it's like, come on, Ben, that's pushing it, lad. Especially the time that I've got available. So there'll be a lot more videos on doing that stuff. but of course I can't release them to the channel until I have a different job, basically, which probably isn't going to happen for quite a long time. Because I like my job. I do. Simon. Oh, I don't know. Daniel. Thanks, mate. All good, Daniel. No problem. Purple Monkey, 1974. How many storage units to repair? He did 3, I believe. Daniel, do you remember the accident I had in the middle of the summer? Yes. Very, very lucky you were not to lose an eye. Well, I got to do at least another 7 sets of springs again. Not that clients moved out of those units. That was the springs that open and close the doors, wasn't it? And one of them broke away from the wall and it smacked you in the face. Very nasty accident, to be fair. Also installed 5 motion sensor light fixtures at a self-storage facility. And I have to do 22 light fixtures to install at one facility and 5 at another. Holy moly, mate, you're getting the work coming in. That's good. That's really, really good. Very, very pleased for you. Now, Pie hasn't quite come ready yet, so we have a wander around the old Jimny. Oh, the brand new Jimny, should I say. Here we go. I'm going to take you out of the tripod. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, now, I do have the brochure. This is the brochure, so I'm going to be relying on this a little bit for specs and stuff, because I'm not particularly good at remembering stuff. So there you go. It's got all the departure angles and things. Very nice. It's a very good little brochure, actually. It shows it in the wild. There it is in the forest. Natural habitat. Capable in the extreme. I like that. It's got a ladder chassis. And it's one of the, in fact, I believe it's the only new small four-wheel drive here in New Zealand that actually has what I call banjo axles. Have a little look underneath. You'll see what I mean. So if you go down here, it's actually got a full beam axle. Obviously, it's a live axle. It's got a diff in it because it's four-wheel drive. Very, very similar to the SJ410s and 413s and stuff. Not like the Vitara, or they call it the Escudo, which has got independent front suspension. So I was very pleased to see that. And of course, the rear axle. We go down here, look. Oh, we got the tow bar. Had to get the tow bar fitted. Genuine Suzuki tow bar. You can see on it has got under there. In fact, let me open the door on it so we'll get some light in. There you go, look, that's better. So you can see there, look, we've got a nice beam axle at the back as well. So it's really well constructed and looks extremely durable. So I'm very, very happy with that. And everything's sort of tucked away nicely above the ladder chassis. So, you know, if you do happen to ground out, if you do happen to ground out, then, you know, everything's pretty well protected. So if we have a look under the bonnet first, where we've got a bit more light. There we go, look, the camera's working up now. Where is it? It's around there somewhere. There he is. Hang on, swap hands. Wonderful. Right, so get the little post in. Bum, bum, bum. Look at that. It's an engine. It's not an electric motor. It's a proper engine. 1,500 cc's near enough. 1.5. And again, it all looks proper Japanese stuff. ECU's hiding up under there. Look, Bosch ECU on there. Very, very cool. Traditional mini battery, as all Suzukis seem to have. Although, again, a little bit bigger than the SJ410 one, which is good. Because they were tiny, weren't they? Obviously, it's got ABS. It's got aircon, which is good. Have to have aircon. And the aircon works really, really well, actually. Very, very happy with that. And a nice big water bottle. So, yeah, pretty cool, actually. I'm very, very pleased with the machine. We have been out for a drive, but more on that a bit later on. I'll get you a side shot. Jim's going to be really, really going, oh, we need one of those, Andy. I really have to have one of those. Now, the tyres. It's on 15-inch alloy wheels. We went for the Sierra version, which is the top model, because, you know, why not? And but the tyres are quite narrow on the tread. They've obviously gone for fuel economy type tyres, so very, very low rolling resistance on the road. but it does go pretty well, to be honest. Obviously, we've got this machine to kit out for the trip. Now, that's going to be quite an expensive job, unfortunately. I've been pricing it up, and it's if I can put together about $10,000, I'll probably be able to get everything I need, but I don't think I'll be able to get 10 grand put together, to be honest. On the front, starting at the front, the accessory-wise, there's going to be an ARB bull bar with an 8,000-pound winch. And the bull bar, it's a proper bull bar, not just a bumper, and it'll have bits that come up over the headlight and stuff, so we can mount a proper CB aerial on there, and probably a couple of spotlights just to make it look cool. And moving around, I think, depending on funds, we're going to go for the ARB sidebars as well. So there's then a bar, we've got it on the old Patrol, there's a bar that comes off the bull bar at the front, runs along the side of the wing, drops down, and then turns into a side step. But again, it's all like, protection for the vehicle, because, it's going to be used in anger as this little truck. The rear end doesn't get any bars. I don't think we'll be doing that, but it might well get an ARB bumper on the rear. But that's probably going to come at a later date because, funds and all that. The roof is going to get one of the roof racks, like an adventure style roof rack. And down the back, we have one. I can't get through that way, it's too narrow. I was surprised it went in the garage, actually. I thought it might be too high, but it's actually all right. So down the back, you can get like a little ladder thing that fits it. I think it goes on this side. I'm not sure. I'll have to have a look, see how it all works. But there'll be a ladder to go on there. And, and an awning. So going back around this side again, sorry, jumping about a bit. We'll be in the car in a minute. Off the roof rack on this side, there'll be a little awning thing that you can pull out and give yourself a little bit of a shade. So if we have to do any maintenance on the bike, on the trip, then we've got that. Right, I'm going to get in the passenger side, just because I do like this machine. Right, let me get the keys. I'll make sure that we're in neutral, because it beeps. If you leave the key in, it bloody beeps, which the old Suzukis didn't do. Hang on a minute. Hang on, bear with me. There we go. Right, everything's coming alive. We've got the old GPS in here. Turn that on. Now, one thing that's really, really annoying is the radio always comes on when you get in the car. So we'll turn that off. But it's got a pretty smart sort of navigator. I can't go on the navigation thing because it'll show you exactly where I am, and that's not a good thing for the internet, unfortunately. But I do like all the little chunky controls. These are your door window buttons, aircon, heat, whether you want hot or cold, that's your fan, I think it is. You've got a little clock in the middle or something like that. I think we need to go one more click. There we go. Oh, aircon, nice. You get a little display in the middle there, look. Now, one other benefit of this machine is it actually has, and this is a very rare thing on modern four-wheel drives, a proper four-wheel drive transfer box lever, a mechanical lever. A lot of four-wheel drives now have just gone for buttons on the dash, and they're all vacuum controlled and servo controlled and stuff. This is absolutely brilliant, and believe it or not, I've not even tried it in low ratio yet. Only used it in 2 and 4H, so I've still got all that to explore yet. It's got a proper handbrake, which is nice. The handbrake isn't on the prop shaft, it's actually on the rear wheels, which is what they did on the later SJ413 Samurais and stuff. They all went to rear wheel activated handbrakes rather than prop shaft stuff. The dash, there you go, look, the steering wheel's in the way, but yeah, it's very, very cool. It's pretty frugal on fuel, in all honesty. I do like what we've got. And there will be a proper walk around video on this thing, in the next few weeks, when I actually get to grips with it and get out there, and we'll get on the trail and we'll have a look at it out in the wild. Now, without getting the carpet too dirty, as regards the rear, we've got, obviously the rear seats are in at the moment. They'll be coming out for the trip. Mrs. Mechanic's been shopping, look, can you tell? I left all the shopping bags in. But there's actually quite a lot of space inside. It's quite roomy for such a small car, because it's a boxy shape, so you don't lose, all that roof space with the sides coming in. So very, very pleased. Very pleased indeed. Mrs. Mechanic does like it. The only thing is, let's go back over to the bench. Oh, hang on, better turn the ignition off. Pie's ready. It's all happening at once this morning. So we'll just turn that off. There we go. Take the keys out so it doesn't beep. Right. The only thing is, it is actually coil sprung, by the way. Just to show you those, it's got coil springs all around, which is really good. But the old Suzuki SJ410s are all leaf spring, so that does a couple of things. It gives you a bit more clearance at the front. Obviously, when we change the bumper, a bit more clearance at the front, so you haven't got the spring hangers hanging down, which used to bash into rocks and stuff. It is, believe it or not, obviously with a solid axle, it's still got, you can see it down there, it's got a steering box, which is cool. You can tell it's got a steering box when you're driving it because it's a little bit wondery, but it's still, you know, it feels just like a little Jeep, and that's what it is. To me, it's a Jeep. I know Jeep, the brand Jeep, have stolen that name and registered it, but I still call them Jeeps. It's a Jeep. To me, it's a Jeep. So there you go. So what are the specs? Well, first of all, a manual gearbox one is relatively rare in New Zealand. We had to pre-order it, and it took about 6 months to arrive. The vast majority of them are sold as automatic gearboxes because most Kiwis can only drive autos, to be fair. They can't drive a manual. Now, it does have, looking at the manual, we think we have a fault. That probably user error at this point in time. But it has a lane departure warning, right? So, and you can turn it off. You can. And what it does, if like most cars that've got that facility, if you say you're falling asleep, you've driven 800 kilometers and you're a bit knackered, and you start to doze off, and the vehicle starts to go over one of the white lines, whether it's the one into the hard shoulder or the one across the middle of the road to the oncoming lane. If it crosses any kind of white lines, then in theory you should get a bit of a judder on the steering wheel, and you should get a warning flash up. And I think Mrs. Mechanic said it beeped. When she first got the car, it was working, and it beeped. And then we turned it off. And you turn it off by, there's a button on the dash, and you hold the button for 3 seconds, and it deactivates that safety feature. And she doesn't like it, so she turned it off. And when we were out for a drive the other day, I thought, oh, you know, I haven't experienced it on that particular car. Let's turn it back on and see how it works. So to turn it back on again, you press the button for 3 seconds, and ping, it comes on. You know, there's always a deactivated light on the dash when it's turned off. That went out, indicating it was working. And then I pretended to fall asleep whilst driving. And you know, drifted across the road a little bit, across the white line. Absolutely nothing happened. And I tried it for a good 3 or 4 minutes, just trying different lanes. And obviously I wasn't indicating, so there was no cars around. It was quite safe on a country lane, just drifting around. And at no time whatsoever did it activate the this lane departure system. So I don't know what's going on there. So it's got to go in for its first service when it's done 1,000 Ks. It's done about 300 now. So in a few weeks' time, it'll be going in for its first service. The first service, incidentally, is free of charge, which was really pleasant to hear. Very happy with that. But not too sure why it's not working. I will have another go next time I'm driving it. Now, as regards other specs, it does actually have that collision avoidance system on it as well, which is pretty cool. That's all that stuff down there. Look, you see, if you get too close, I don't know if it slams the brakes on or it just gives you a buzzer. Oh, automatic braking, it does. So it gives you a buzzer, you get some lights flash on the dash, and it actually applies the brakes on the vehicle itself to stop you smashing into the car, or hopefully stop you smashing into the car in front, which is obviously driving slower or potentially stopped. I don't know how good it is. We haven't tried it. Probably don't want to give it a go, in all honesty, just to test it, because I do remember watching a Clarkson, one of the Top Gear videos, and Clarkson was testing one and it didn't work and he just drove straight into a wall. So not ideal. But yes, we went for the Sierra. It's got a 7-inch touchscreen, which is what you saw on the dash. And it's also Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatible, so it does both types of phones. Well, Mrs. Mechanic's got an Apple, and I use Android phones. I would never, ever have an Apple phone. I have one for work, and I absolutely hate it. completely lost with it. Don't know how it works. It tells me the time, and I can make phone calls, and I get emails on it for work, and that's on texts. I don't use any other features whatsoever. It's got a pollen filter, which is nice because where we're going in the South Island, you know, middle of nowhere, a lot of pollen around. And the steering wheel is leather covered, by the way, just for you to know. Now, I want some more technical specs. Where are we going? Yes, 15 hours. Oh, the headlamps. That's pretty cool. Auto leveling. Very nice. It's got headlight washers on it, which will probably stop working at some point. It's got front fog lights, and the mirrors are electronically foldable. Very posh. No, I don't know why he's highlighted that, because that's for the auto gearbox, and it hasn't got one of those. It would never have one of those. So the dimensions, here we go. It's a bit more technical spec for you. So the overall length is 3.48 meters. You'll have to convert that into feet because it hasn't got it on here. That's without the spare wheel on. With the spare wheel on, it goes up to 3.645 meters, or 3,645 millimeters, if you want to go that technical. The width, it's actually quite narrow. The width is 1,645, and the overall height, which I was surprised at, is actually quite low, 1,720, so 1.72 meters high. The wheelbase is 2.250, and they've typo. They've called it a tread. It's actually the track. They've made a mistake in the brochure. The track, the front and the rear are actually slightly different, which is a bit odd. It makes it a bit weird when you're going down ruts because the vehicle sort of buffets from one side to the other. On the front, if you're in ruts, obviously, the front is 3.395, but the rear is 10 millimeters wider than the front. Interesting. Ground clearance, 210 millimeters, which I suppose is okay. Modern vehicle. Approach angle, this is with the standard bumper on. When the ARB bumper goes on, the bull bar goes on, it should be improved. But the approach angle is 37 degrees, breakover angle is 28, and departure angle 49. I don't intend to put a lift kit on this vehicle at this point in time. I don't want to compromise its road handling at all. And the off-road terrain that we'll be using it on, I don't think we're going to need it, to be honest. Yes, it's always nice to have extra clearance, but I don't think it's necessary. The Patrol we've got, that's got a 2-inch lift on it, and it's got heavy-duty springs and stuff, and that's just a beast, to be honest. Goes anywhere. This machine is very, I'm sure, will be quite capable, but it's never going to be as capable as a Patrol, especially when you're carrying the loads and stuff, you know. Minimum turning radius is 4.9 meters. Now, the weights, this is an interesting stuff. The curb weight for the Sierra, now this is the Sierra Auto, hang on, Sierra Manual, there we go. Look, so the curb weight, actually slightly lighter than the Auto, is 1,095 kilograms. So it weighs just over a ton. It actually doesn't weigh much more than the old SJ410s, actually. The gross vehicle weight, so this is loaded, 1,435 kilograms. So it's got a payload of about 300 and something kgs. Now, the engine is a K15B, and it's 1,462 cc's. It's not quite 1,500 cc. Compression ratio 10:1. It revs to about 6.5 grand. It revs really well. And it keeps pulling as well. It's got a really, really, really wide torque curve on it. And when I was driving down a gravel road that we did a couple of days ago, you could even be in second gear high and bring it right down to idle. And if you were gentle on the throttle, it would actually pull away quite happily. It didn't chug, didn't cough and splutter. It was a really smooth take-up, a very, very flexible little engine. I was really impressed by it, to be honest. And the suspension was great. Going through the potholes, those coil springs, I mean, they're still really stiff at the moment because they're brand new. As they loosen up, it'll only get better. But it absorbed some of the really big bumps. There was quite a lot of big, deep potholes. However, it made me and Mrs. Mechanic laugh our heads off. if you went through a series of potholes and a resonance built up, so you had a pothole on the right, then one on the left, and then one on the right, a resonance built up, man, the truck really rocked from one side to the other. So we're a bit conscious about how poor Marmite's going to cope with that. Far more bumpy inside the cab for the passengers than it is in the Ranger, or in the Patrol, to be fair. But it's a light vehicle, so once we get some gear in there and stuff, I think it'll actually, the springs will start to work better. Now, anything else that's interesting? Yes, it's got a recirculating ball steering box. Yes, suspension's a 3-link rigid axle coil spring, we know that. Tires are a 195/80/15. They will be changed, as will the rims for the trip. Again, more expense, but you know, don't want to wreck the alloy wheels on the trip. Always good to keep those for you for the summer driving. And the fuel tank capacity is 40 litres. Now, it says on here that the towing capacity is only, with a brakes trailer, is only 950 kilograms. However, I saw on the internet when I was checking it out that it was 1,300 kilograms. So there's a discrepancy. Interesting. Okay, so that's enough on the specs for now. I do plan, and it is only a plan at the moment, I do plan to do a proper walk around video. We'll do a Clarkson impression with a bit of driving and stuff as well thrown in on that video, just seeing how the vehicle performs and that kind of stuff. And then there's going to be a series of videos fitting all the accessories to it. And the first accessory to fit, I didn't bring them in here actually. The first accessory to fit is a set of air horns that Benjamin gave Mrs. Mechanic for Christmas for her little Jeep. So we're going to be fitting those with a changeover switch, so that it uses, the plan is to use the normal horn button on the steering wheel, and you've got a little changeover switch on the dash, so you can have it so it does the air horns or does the car's original horn. Don't need a separate switch to activate the horn, if you know what I mean, because you're never going to reach for it when you need to, you know. Anyway, the pie is ready, but I just want to quickly scoot back and scan through these comments. Here we go. Peter Hatz, all the best for 2023, Andy. Thanks for your efforts in producing the videos. No problem, Peter. My apologies, there haven't been that many videos in the last few months. I've just been way too busy, unfortunately, but I will get back to it. Pete Neves, how's the Triumph parts coming along? Alan still hasn't sourced the special tools for the primary drive. Stu said he knows a guy in Invercargill that's got some, but I'd only be able to have them for a couple of days. And that's going to make it really tight on the filming. So I said to Stu, look, I'll have that as a plan B, but I really want Alan to actually buy the special tools. And then because he's got 2 of these bikes, and then that way he's got them for the primary drive side. So I'm pushing down that avenue for now. Daniel, a full chassis SUV these days, that makes me so happy to see. Me too, right? Absolutely. I think if it had been a monocoque, a bit like the Vitara is, which is, you know, it's not really a chassis vehicle, it doesn't have a ladder chassis. Probably wouldn't have bought one, to be honest. But with it having the beam axles, the live axles on there, the coil springs, which is nice, and of course a proper ladder chassis, it's still a Jeep, right? It's still a proper little off-roader. And they do so well. They've got a real following of these little Jeeps already. There's loads of stuff that you can get for them. I mean, I did spot a photo. Let me find it for you. I spotted a photo on Instagram, it was. I think it'd be on screenshots. Hang on, bear with me. Bear with me. Yes, there you are. Look, on Instagram. Look at that. I know it's a bit out of focus. I wonder if I can get it to focus for you. There you go. That's all kitted out. You see it's got the roof rack. Oh, snorkel as well will be called for. You can just make out the ladder rack at the back. But that's the kind of thing we want to be doing. I know it's a different colour. It is going to get logoed up, but we're going to do the logos in grayscale. We're not going to get all coloury on there. I want to try and keep the thing looking a bit smart, you know. So all that's planned. But it's really good. It's even got the little side fuel tanks on there. Look on the side. What else has it got? I do like the Union Jag, and that's brilliant. So I think we might have to have one of those. Yeah, it's got the snorkel. It seems to have, that one has a raised bonnet. I wonder if that's a turbo diesel one, actually. and he's got the little checker plate stuff on the corners of the wings. I don't think we'll go that far at the moment. I'll probably end up just scratching the wings first and then putting it on. But yeah, it does look very, very cool. There's a lot of accessories available for them already. So I'm very much looking forward to sort of blinging it out over the next year. But I'm going to have to do it in stages because, man, you can burn some serious money with that kind of thing. You really can. Right, let's go and get the pie because I'm getting hungry. Right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, turn you around. Boom. So a lot more on the little Jimny in the future. Proper video outside in the real world. That was just a little insight just to keep you going, you know. Right, close that. It's a bit falling apart. Stick it over there, look. Right, bear with me. Get you set up. 3, 2, 1, boom. Right, there we go. That should work. Okay, we need to do a little pie spin and see what kind of condition this pie is in after it's been cooked. So there you go. It's still quite hot. This puff pastry lid does feel quite loose. There's a bit of movement on there. Ooh, we've got a crack. Now remember that impact damage? Well, the crack has grown quite a bit. Underneath, that still looks pretty intact. Not bad. There's another little crack there, look, but I think we'll be okay. Okay, now I should really start on that one, I think. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt. For those that have just joined us, those that slept in, Makatu pies. This is the steak and cheese. It's a 200 gram. And it says honest to goodness, whatever that means. Right, okay, cool. We're going in. It might still be a bit on the hot side, so bear with me. A bit dry. Now, back to the comments while I have a little think about the flavours. Daniel, done that one, sorry. Ovi, hello Andy. Hey, good morning Ovi. Simon, don't lose the key code and the immobilizer code. With a mid-range tool, you can do your own keys. Ooh. Will be in the books you got with it. I will have a look. We've got all the service book and everything. Mike Adams, that Suzuki, from what I can tell on camera, looks to be close to the same size as the old Willis Jeeps. So it ought to be as nimble off-road. They are. They're really nimble little things. And it's got, like I say, it's got a phenomenal little, torquey little engine. And because of it's quite lightweight. You've seen it's about 1.1 ton. With all the fuel on board and stuff, but without any additional luggage and tools and things. We've got all the tools from 10 tools to go in there. It actually, we did a gravel road, but it was pretty potholed, and there was some big, well, I said big, there was some washouts that sort of snaked down the middle of the track that we had to cross over. And I've done some pretty serious off-roading over the years. I used to run an off-road driving centre for many years, and so I was only just taking it really careful, just breaking the little thing in, getting a feel for it. But it really felt very capable, and just didn't have to worry too much about what gear you're in. It was just so flexible. It wasn't like the little 410s, which would easily stall out without receiving fuel injection. Monitors the RPM when you're down at idle. And we found this with George the GTI, actually, when I put the GTI engine in, that when you were going through a gully, it would monitor the engine RPM, and if it dropped down, it would automatically pick it up, which obviously EFI does. And it was a real benefit in some off-road situations. It was really good. So, and the same characteristics with this one. So, downside, pretty dry pastry. Now, taste stroke flavour for the contents. It's quite rich. If you look in there, it's a real dark brown meat and gravy in there. Not had any large chunks of meat yet. It doesn't taste too bad, but the dry pastry is quite overwhelming on this particular pie. which is a bit of a downside, to be honest. Leaves your mouth really dry. So, meat flavour. I'm going to have one more bite. I'm not too sure yet. I'm going to try and avoid some of the pastry. So far, it tastes much more like a mince pie. But anyway, I'm going to give it a 6. It's not great. The pastry flavour is overwhelming any kind of meat taste at the moment. Structure fully partners. Well, we've got a lot of lifting going on with that puff pastry on the top, but I'm just going to hold that back for a bit because it might get worse. It is crumbly up, and we've got a bit of debris on the bench. Runnability test. Here we go. So 45 degrees, 30 seconds. That's about 45 degrees there. Are we seeing any kind of movement on the contents? This is the meat and the gravy oozing out, and we're not. It's absolutely rock solid, actually. It's good, and it is pretty hot at the moment, so I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 for that. That's okay. Meat quality, well, I haven't found any real meat yet. Pie to crust ratio. Well, there's a lot of pastry going on, and it's very, very dry. There is still some more meat behind there, so I'm going to give it another bite. I mean, the lid has bent over a bit. There's a bit more meat than what you could see there. But even so, there's a lot of pastry, right? There's a lot of pastry going on there. Oh, we nearly lost a bit. There we go. That's my breakfast. Don't want to lose any. So I would say it's probably less than 50% on a cross section. Less than 50%. There's more pastry than there is actual filling, which is always a bad thing with a pie. So I'm going to score it 4, 5, and we'll give it a 5. We'll give it a 5. Now, availability logistics. I've only seen these for sale around Taupo. I've not seen them anywhere else. I wonder if it gives me an idea of where they're made. Oh, here we go. Bear with me. It's got a little talky bit. The village of Makatu is placed amongst green fields, sparkling waters, and golden beaches. Painted the picture there, aren't they? It's the end of the line. No main roads go there, and so it always remained a little slice of New Zealand from a time gone by. It is here, over a quarter of a century ago, that my father discovered my grandmother's prize recipe for the perfect pie. Hand-rolled golden flaky pastry, you're not kidding, filled with the freshest ingredients from nearby fields, mixed with special herbs and spices. It does taste a little bit spicy, actually. Then baked to perfection with just a sprinkling of love, ensured the locals an honest to goodness feast. I think we're pushing the boundaries of the word feast, anyway. We still make them right here in Makatu by hand, the original way, just as Nana would have. And it goes on a bit more about a Nana and that kind of thing, his Nana and that stuff. So, now, got an address there, Bay of Plenty. So, okay, it's over that way, is it? So I don't think they're available everywhere. That's the point we're trying to come to, isn't it? This one was purchased in a supermarket. Countdown, I think it was. But I don't think all the Countdowns have got them. I think it's just the local Countdown. So, availability logistics, I'm going to give it... You can get them online if it's Countdown, but only if you are local to that Countdown. 5? Let's give it a 5. Pastry taste rating. Okay, here we go. I need to get a chunk of pastry and have a taste. I'll try and put the dryness to one side for a minute. It's not great. The pastry tasting is not great at all. Or the taste of the pastry. that kind of pastry. It's on the inner edge. I know I say it's dry, but it's a bit gooey right on the inner part that faces the contents, and it sort of gets stuck to your teeth. It's a bit weird. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm not a fan of that, actually. Not a fan of that at all. Now, packaging design. Well, it's essentially a paper bag, but it has been branded. It's got some printing on there. It tells you what's inside it. It's got a barcode, make it so you can pay for it. And there's a lot of information on the back, including the blurb about his grandma and how the history of the pie. As regards time and effort, there's no window, by the way, so you can't see what you're buying. Oh, probably a couple of hours on, maybe not even that actually, on Photoshop. You knock that together. Packaging design, 6. Yeah, 6. Give it a 6. Pretty low scores today. Maybe I'm getting a bit hard in my old age. Now, recyclable score. They have spent the time to put a recyclable logo on the packaging, which means it's fully recyclable. It's not a plastic lined bag. It's just paper. So they are correct. They get 10 out of 10 for that. Well done. So the best score so far was runnability. Didn't run at all. And the recyclable score. Post pie heartburn. Don't know yet. Ooh. A piece of meat. It tastes okay. It's not great. I'm not too sure. Maybe the spices they've put in there are taking away the actual meaty taste a little bit, because I can taste the spices. I didn't really want a spicy pie. I just wanted a steak and cheese. The spicy stuff should be in the pepper steak cheese, not in the normal steak and cheese. Okay. Pie server attractiveness. I'm trying to think back. Went shopping. Give her a 7. She's going to get a 7. She was wearing a little Christmas hat, so I should put some effort in. Very good. Now, what else have we got to go? Still tasty when cold. Structure fully partners. It's doing all right, but there's a lot of little bits waiting to fall off. So, I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 7. I think I was sort of erring on 6, but despite the appearance, it's actually not done too badly, really. But it's definitely a two-handed pie, this one. Oh. Bear with me. That was a huge chunk of meat, but very chewy. Not particularly good quality at all. Would I say gristly? Not quite, but it was really chewy and it was super hot. And you can really taste those spices and stuff that they're put in, which is a bit unnerving, to be fair. So meat quality, I'm going to give it a 4. I'm sorry, but I am. It's not really very good at all. We've had a lot better. Now, back to the comments for a bit. Simon, oh, done that one. Mike Adams, done that one. Okay, scroll down. Cool Kid 1, hello! Good morning, Cool Kid 1, and welcome to 2023. I'm in the future. Jim Haynes. Hello, Jim. I'm late to 2023, but hit the like button. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. Lane departure system. Very vary on pavement markings in my experience. Yeah, the white lines were pretty bright. It was a tarmac, black tarmac road. Pretty bright white lines. Solid white line on the left, obviously for the hard shoulder, and pretty big sort of dots down the middle. I was surprised it didn't even attempt to work at all. It did work when she first picked it up, and then she turned it off. Mrs. Mechanic turned it off, and it's never worked since. Odd. And you have to stop the car to turn it on and off. That's one thing we found out. You can't do it while you're driving. Jim. Oh, there's a burp. Remember that one? Suzuki cars went out of business in North America. And what the hell does Jimny mean? Oh, it's not Jimmy, it's Jimny. I think your spell check's kicked in. I don't know. Should we find out? I don't know what Jimny means. Come on, Google. Right. Ooh. Here we go. The name Jimny originated from a word picked up by Suzuki executives during a trip to Scotland. Originally intended to be called the Jimmy, linguistics errors arose in translation, and they ended up calling it the Jimny. After a successful 7 years, the final first generation model was introduced, the LJ80. So in reality, it should okay, this is another one for you. The theory continues that the Jimny was named after the character in the story, Jiminy Cricket, literally an insect who serves as Pinocchio's conscience. The character represents a small, smart, safe, personal persona, exactly what Suzuki had in mind for its little off-roader. So we've got two variants there. One is the name came out of Scotland when the Suzuki executives were touring around, and there's another take on it that it came from Pinocchio, the movie. So I don't know which it is. Probably one of them. I would probably go for the second one, actually, knowing how the Japanese think, because they like that kind of stuff. Oh, it's a bit oozy now. Look at that. While I was just lost my track there for a minute. It's getting a bit messy. Okay, very good question though, and hopefully I've answered that for you. Simon Roll, will the roof tent fit on the Jimny? It will, but they tend to get a little bit top heavy to those little Jeeps. I mean, the old SJ410s and 413s were renowned for falling over, which finished off quite a few of them, as well as the rust. I'm more tempted, and you might laugh at this, because it does hinder its off-road ability. But I'm more tempted, now I've discussed this with Mr. Mechanic a few days ago, to make a little trailer, a little adventure trailer. Because we still need the ability to transport the monkey bike, or whatever motorcycle is being driven or ridden at the time. But in this case, we need the ability to transport the monkey bike on the Jimny. Now, originally I was thinking, oh, no worries, we've got a receiver hitch tow bar. We'll just use the metal frame that I've made and fit that to the back of the vehicle. But then, when the frame's not in use, I really don't want that frame to be in the car, because it's going to be banging around, off-road and smashing the hell out of the interior, because it's really heavy, and it's not going to break. It's going to break all the plastic. So that really isn't an option. So I thought, well, okay, we leave it on the back. That's not really an option either, because it looks dumb and it's going to ground out and stuff, probably. So I'm sort of steering away from using that rack on this particular vehicle. Plus, I don't quite know how it's going to cope with the hitch weight, with the bike on the rack on the Jimny. The chassis is nowhere near as strong as it is on the Ranger. It's not designed to tow anywhere near as much weight. And there is a possibility it could actually rip the tow bar out of the floor or off the chassis. Not good. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe we build a little lightweight trailer. Doesn't take long to build a trailer, he says. Single axle. And at the back of the trailer, sort of 2/3 of the trailer, only short. 2/3 of the trailer, we have some kind of box arrangement where we can put tools and store stuff. And then at the front of the trailer, we have a little bracket welded to it for the front and the rear wheels of the little monkey bike, because it's only small. And have a bit of channel for a ramp, only a short ramp. And then we can just put the monkey bike on the front of the trailer where the A-frame is and have tool area, fuel, that kind of thing stored. Maybe some camping gear or whatever in there, the cooking and utensils and things. And then on top of the trailer, and I'm only talking sort of waist height, mount the roof tent. So the overall weight of the trailer is going to be no more than, even with a monkey on it, probably about 800 kgs. I'm going to try and make it as light as I possibly can. So it'll be a steel frame chassis, because I really can't bother to weld aluminium. It'll be a steel frame chassis, leaf springs, because it's cheap and cheerful, and but aluminium panels and stuff for the actual box and door and things. I might even be able to buy something that's already pre-made. We'll see how things pan out. But have a structure on there where I can mount the actual roof tent to the top of the trailer, and then it's like a completely self-contained little camping unit, which means it doesn't have to go behind the Jimny every time. It can be used behind other vehicles, which is interesting. Opens up more possibilities. I've yet to start the design, but I think it sounds a pretty good idea. I know it reduces the off-road ability of the vehicle. It'll have to have a long drawbar on it, a long A-frame, to allow for when you're going through gullies and stuff, so that the whatever's, if the little bike, worst case scenario, the monkey's on the trailer, as you go through a gully, you don't want the monkey bike to collide with the back of the Jeep. You need a good long tow bar, A-frame. Oh, it's getting messy. Right, last bit, here we go. Now, another really important point to mention now is all the cheese was right at the end of the pie. It wasn't throughout the pie at all. There was no cheese until the last 2 bites. Which isn't good, is it? Because I wanted a steak and cheese pie, not a steak pie with a little bit of steak and cheese pie bolted at the end of it. So, a bit disappointing, Makatu. Sorry, it is. Your quality control's not... Ooh, there's somebody at the door. Hang on a minute. Bear with me. What have we got? Ah, yeah. Oh, Mrs. Mechanic wants a cigarette. Hang on then. Mrs. Mechanic wants a cigarette, but she's brought me a coffee in exchange. Do you think a cigarette's worth a coffee? I think it is. There you go. One of those. One of them. Thanks, darling. Whew, right, I'm back. Okay, got some more stuff to show you. It's going to be a long live stream, this one, isn't it? I've got work to do. Okay, cheers, Colin Furs. Happy New Year to you. Maybe he'll be doing his Christmas Eve stuff. He'll be down in his tunnels, won't he? In his cave. Oh, that's a good coffee. It's better than that one. We'll get rid of that one. Right. Let's get the pie finished. So, yeah. Still tasty when cold. I'll give it a 4. Well, I'll give it a 5. It wasn't horrendous. But you'd have to have a drink with it because it's going to be really dry as a cold pie. Post-pie heartburn. We had a couple of burps there. We're down to 8. Everything feels fine at the moment. Stuffability score. I'm not actually hungry anymore. It's done okay. I don't feel overstuffed. I don't feel satisfied though. Wasn't sort of what I expected. The meat quality was poor. It was a bit gristly, a bit chewy. Not gristly. It was just chewy. And there was no real meat for the first half of the pie. It was just like gravy, and then I got 2 really big chunks of meat near the end, and then we got some cheese. So very sort of inconsistent contents, really. It wasn't the same all the way through, which is a bit odd. That's probably why I'm feeling a bit weird, actually. I'm going to give it an 8 for stuffability. Purely because I just don't feel that satisfied, to be honest. I feel like I've been cheated. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right, all the scores are in. Let's mark it up. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay, let's get you down. Oh, hang on. What's gone on there? It's doubled it. Right, so there we are. Must have pressed it twice. Terrible camera operator. Okay, so we've got, where's my pen? 13, 23, 27, 32, 37, 41, 46, 50, 60, 68, 76, and 70, no, 83. 83 it's got. Oh, wasn't that the same score as last time? 83. If I'm wrong, please let me know. Should I double check? We should double check, shouldn't we? Hang on, bear with me then. We'll do a double check because I'm not 100% certain I got that right. Okay, 13, 23, 27, 32, 37, 41, 46, 52, 62, 70. Oh, hang on now. I'm going to start again. I got it wrong again. 13, 23, 27, 32, 37, 41, 46, 52, 62, 70, 78, 78, 85. What's going on there, Mr. Young? So I believe it's 85. Let me know if I'm wrong. Obviously, I've lost the ability to do any kind of maths in 2023. Okay, so we've got, make a 2 pies. Steak and cheese. It was a 200 gram. And he got 85, I believe. So let me know if I'm wrong. Just check in the comments. Just going to scroll down, see if any of you guys have got a different answer. Oh no, looks like we're pretty good. And it was poor, very poor meat. That's my take on it, to be honest. That's my memory of that pie, is the meat was actually pretty poor. Okay, let's head over to the leaderboard and see where we end up. Right. Dum 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 dum. Here we go. Morning, Lily. How are you doing? Looking all right? Oh, yes. Okay. Mac of 2 pies, 85, 85. Oh, okay. Hang on. We can stick him down here, look. We've got plenty of space down here, so. Dum 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 dum. That'll do. Make of 2 pies. Now I know it's 85, which is the same as all those there. Look, Starbucks and not Bake Shack, sorry. Bakerman's and Patiki Bakery. So yeah, it's not great, is it? There's a lot of much better pies out there. There really is. Would I buy it again? Not really. To be honest, like I said, there's a much better choice of other better pies, really. That's the one that I thought it was, Matura, but Matura's a different brand again, so it's pretty good to cover that one, but I definitely won't be buying any more of their pies. Sorry, guys, it's not going to happen. Right, back to the bench. 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, I need to sort the camera out because everything's going to be all topsy-turvy now. See how we get on with that. Okay, so drink a coffee, start fresh. Let's just scroll back to the comments. Lots of comments to go at. Oh my word, you guys have been really busy. Really busy. There we go. Right, so Simon said earlier on, will the roof tent fit on the Jimny? So I explained about the trailer. That's where we got to with that. Giant, Andy, congrats on the beautiful new car. Very nice. It is. It's. Where's the lighter gone now? There it is. It is. It's not a bad little Jeep, and I'm very, very proud that we've bought one. Yes, it's gonna, it's gonna be a real effort making sure we get it all paid for without, causing too much harm to other aspects of our expenditure. But hey, we work hard, we earn the money, and Mrs. Mechanic she really deserves a new vehicle. She's worked so hard this year doing all these footwell kits and servicing the ROVs and things. She's a massive help in the workshop. It's hard to really try and explain how much of the work she does. Without her around helping out in the workshop, I wouldn't get half of what I get done. She's a fundamental part of what we do, to be honest. I rely on her input now completely. Daniel, just got home, need some sort of substance in my belly, so my mum made me some homemade chili. Ooh, chili. Oh my word. I have to throw some crackers and shredded cheese into my bowl of chili. Sounds good. Sheldon, when will you be doing the South Island dealer visits? It's going to be scheduled for February, and I'll be down there for the vast majority of February. It's going to be a fair trip because I've got quite a bit to get done. I've got some training to do. I've got that field study still to do on with the fuel pumps, and I've got all the dealers to visit down there. So it's going to be, and obviously I'll go and see Eloise in Queenstown for a weekend as well. So it's going to be pretty full on. I won't be in the workshop probably for 3 weekends, which is like the most I've ever been away. It's going to be pretty tough, to be honest, but I can't do it in January because Mrs. Mechanic's going to go on a walk with Eloise towards the back end of January, and I don't start work till the 10th anyway. So there's just not enough time between when I start work and when Mrs. Mechanic goes and does a walk, because I have to be home for Marmite, to get the South Island stuff done then. So it's going to have to be pushed back till February now, which is what I thought was going to happen anyway, as soon as I wasn't able to do it in December. So it is what it is. It's just going to have to wait. And then March, we've got the monkey bike trip scheduled. So I'll be back on leave again and on the road again. So it's going to be a very sporadic first few months of the year. As regards work ability. Now then, where we go. So Sheldon, hopefully that answers that question. February time I'll be down to see you. Jim Haynes. The wobbles are probably not from regular steering system, but from tyre sidewall flex of the tyres. No, I think the one, it's not wobbling, it's wandering. So that it's not a steering box and the setup of the live axles. It's nowhere near as positive type of steering as you get with a steering rack. It's a lot more feedback with a rack. A lot more precise steering. A steering box tends to have a bit more play in it, combined with the design or the layout of the steering rods, that go down to the wheels. Just the geometry of the whole thing tends to allow a bit more movement. It's a bit more vague. That's the word. It's a bit more vague on the steering, but that's the characteristic of the Jeep. If it had a steering rack in it, I wouldn't be particularly happy, because steering racks are nowhere near as durable as a steering box. They absolutely aren't. And a steering rack, in my opinion, has no place whatsoever on an off-road vehicle. It really, really doesn't. A steering box is far more durable. I haven't done a video rebuilding a steering box yet, actually. I need to get one from a scrapyard. I used to rebuild a lot. I used to teach how to do it at Unitec. And it was really cool. I enjoyed doing those. And you don't really need any special tools either, the ones that we did, from memory. Now then, Jim Haynes did that one. Mike Adams, for comparison between your Suzuki and a 1947 Willys Jeep, here's the Jeep specs on the next post. I'll wait for that one. I can always look them up anyway. Daniel Bedell. Oh, you mean you had to see what condition your condition was in? Lol. Is that the air conditioner? Mike Adams. What is Jeep size in metric? Length 3.3, width 1.49. Very, very similar. Height 1.7. Almost identical. One thing I didn't spot in the specs was the power output. The Japanese tend to be very, very... Yeah, they don't mention what the actual power output of the engine is. What's this? Oh, here we go. Look, yes, they do. So, maximum output in kilowatts is 75 kilowatts at 6,000 RPM. Maximum torque in Newton meters is 130 at 4,000 RPM. So if you're off-roading, there's absolutely no need to go over the 4,000 mark. And I mean, most of the time I was just above idle. It was, you know, it pootled along quite nicely. And that actually is a great segue, because the name of the little Jeep is Pootle. As in, the name originates, because of the colour of the Jeep especially, the name originates from a character in The Flumps, which was a children's TV series in the UK. So Mrs. Mechanic named it Pootle. It also tallies very well with the style of driving that you do when you're in the Jeep, because it is a little bouncy and stuff. You tend to pootle around. You don't go anywhere particularly quickly, you just sort of pootle. I did come up with a nickname for the name of the Jeep, which is very similar to Pootle, but Mrs. Mechanic has forbidden me to mention it on the live stream, because then you will all call it that. So I may let it slip at some point in the future, but at the moment, my lips are sealed. I'm not going to say it. I am. It's not worth it. Vijayant, Andy, no pies in the new car, lol. Definitely no pies and no Marmite at this point in time. Obviously, she's got to go in the car, in the Jeep, on the trip. She has to do. But we're trying to keep the interior as clean and as new as possible for as long as possible. When Marmite gets in the car, she just infests the whole vehicle instantly with dog hairs. They get absolutely everywhere. It's a nightmare. It really is. Emma's got, Mrs. Mechanic, Emma, has got a little Suzuki Swift as a normal runabout, and it really does need a clean. It really, really does. I don't know when she's going to clean. It's too hot at the moment. She'll get around to it at some point, but it needs to be de-haired. It's pretty bad. Mike Allen's weight of the Jeep was 997, so we're about 100 kilograms heavier on the Jimny, which isn't bad when you think it's got all those additional features. It's got electric windows, it's got a roof, you know, it's got all that stuff as well. So, you know, it's not bad at all. Simon, Bit Rabsy Nesbit, see you Jimny, see you. See you Jimny. Overbuilt Automotive looks like getting in your live stream a bit late. Hope you like the new toy. Just seen the screenshot. It's very cool, actually. It's not often we buy a new vehicle. Realistically, you know, it's a big expense, big commitment. But it's not just for Mrs. Mechanic. It's for her trip, and I wanted to do it in something that wasn't the company car. And I sure as hell couldn't use the Suzuki Swift for it. That wouldn't do it at all, obviously. So, you know, everything's sort of stacked up, and I managed to look at my finances a little bit and go, you know what, I think we can just about manage this. And here it is. We've got it. No turning back now. Pete Woodfine, on the ideas of a trailer, how about a Land Rover one? Now, what you mean is the military style single axle trailer. We actually had two of those in the UK. One had a bent axle. I bought it just as spares, but we ended up using it. They're a bit wide. And the bed of those trailers is extremely high off the ground. So I don't know. I'm just gonna have a little think about how I'm gonna do this. I might even use in-suspension units on it, rubberized suspension, because that might allow me then to just, I don't know, make it a bit lower, center of gravity a bit lower. I've got to have a little think about the design on it. Bear with me on that. I mean, in an ideal world, I would like it to use the same size wheels and tires as the Jeep, because then you've got to carry one spare, right? Cuts down on weight. However, I'm not sure yet if I can get the hubs with the right PCD to match the Jeep. Work in progress. We're right at the very start of thinking about this trailer project. I built lots of trailers over the years, so building it's not an issue, but I want to make sure I build it. The design is correct for the application, and as good as I can possibly. I mean, obviously there are refinements that you can make further down the line, but I want to get it as applicable to the application as I possibly can before we start building it up. We'll have to wait and see, and then there'll be a bit of testing before we actually embark on the trips. I've got to try and cram all that in. There's a lot to get done, and we can't really push the trip back to April because the weather turns by then. You know, I don't want Mrs. Mechanic getting too cold and wet because she'll get really grumpy. And rightly so. Anyway. Hang on a minute. Now then. Daniel Bedell. Sorry, Andy, I got to spend some more time with the missus. That's fine. I'll finish watching on live stream later. All good, Daniel. You have a good day, matey. Mike Adams. Due to the wheelbase and the light weight of the Jimny, the weight of the bike and the rack in the receiver on the back leverage might make it too light and unstable to steer on the steer axle. You are absolutely correct. Does depend quite a bit on how far back the receiver hitch is from the centre line of the rear axle. Totally agree. I think personally, for durability, if nothing else, a little trailer is the best option. I don't particularly like trailers in an off-road environment because it does limit your ability to reverse back and have another go and things. You've got a lot more to think about when you're towing a trailer. But knowing the trails that we're going on, I think we'll be just fine. I think it'll be okay for that kind of application. Engineering is a compromise, right? You know, we've got to try and find the best solution for that particular situation. Daniel, see you later, crew. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year to you too, Daniel. Have a good evening and enjoy your time with your family. Vijayant, you should invite Mrs. Mechanic into the live stream one day. Maybe a bit more towards the trip, at the start of the trip. We'll get her on a live stream and she can talk about what the trip's all about, why we're doing it, and maybe give you an idea of where we're going, the routes and stuff. She's heavily involved in that side of it. She knows a lot more about that side than I do. Good idea, though. Thank you, Vijayant. Jim Haynes. My idea of camping has Marriott in the name. Funny guy. Pete Neves. Mrs. should do a pie sometime. She needs to make some pies. I keep asking to make pies. Overbuilt automotive man. Lots of pies to buy out there to buy, it seems like. Yes, there are lots and lots, and there seems to be a growing number of different brands of pie here in New Zealand. They're really taking a big boost. You know, pie consumption in New Zealand seems to be a growing thing again now. It seemed to die off a few years ago, and it's definitely getting some steam again now. So it's great to see lots of different ones to test and try. But beware, you know, there's some really good pies out there, but there's also some really crappy pies out there. So that's one of the reasons why we do the review, to try and anybody in New Zealand that's buying these pies, they've got a good idea what they're going in for. There's nothing worse than buying a pie where you've got these high expectations and you want the satisfaction and good quality meat and so on, and it's not there. There's some out there that I would never go anywhere near again. You know, and hopefully the reviews have helped to promote that. Simon, you're going to need a pie warmer in the Jeep. Maybe in the trailer. Possibly a small metal box close to the exhaust. Oh, that's a good idea. We could do something maybe. Now then, Jacob Vaughan. A friend bought a new Jimny back in 2006. So that's the old shape. That's the roundy one. We had one of those in England as well. And had annoying steering wobbles at high speeds all the time. Ever heard of that? We had no problems at all. However, talking about the SJs and stuff that we had, steering wobble was quite common if you had slack in your steering box, you had warm bushes on the leaf springs, so any kind of warm bushes on the suspension can do it. A imbalanced rim, or if both front wheels are not balanced correctly, then obviously each wheel turns at a different speed because you're in around corners and stuff. They can end up where they start to build up an oscillation through the front axle, and that's where you get this really bad steering wobble going on. If you've put a lift kit on the vehicle, then it changes the steering geometry tremendously, and it can really increase the chance of steering wobble. I remember I used to have a little SJ410 pickup that we made. We cut the back. It was a soft top. We turned it into a little pickup. And that thing was absolutely horrific for steering wobble, to the point where it would just get so bad. The only way was to slam the brakes on, stop the wheels from turning, because mainly on gravel roads I was driving, stop the wheels from turning, you know, pretty much bring the vehicle to a halt and then set off again. You couldn't drive through it. It just got so bad. And that vehicle had really badly worn spring bushes. Steering box had loads of play in it. The tie rod, the steering rods, how they have ball joints on, they all had a bit of play in it, and everything just meant it was all just flapping around. You know, it was just really bad. Also, check that you haven't got a tire that's out around. That can really cause steering wobble. You know, if the tire actually is a bit old and gone out around, it's lost its shape. You know. Now then, when we get to Jacob Vaughan again. What brand of darts today? Lucky strike for me. No, I'm always on the Pall Mall. Pall Mall there, look, you see? Those ones with the great picture on the front. Now then. Simon. Lee Springs using Jimny hubs. Yeah. I'm sure there's a few crashed ones in you know, in the wreckers scrapyards around Auckland. There's bound to be. Yes, I could if I could get hold of a couple of front hubs, then I can make up, you know, some brackets and stuff like that, and weld those to the end of the axle tube. Definitely possible. Stub axles and hubs, definitely possible. The trailer is probably going to need to be braked, not because of its weight. It may not legally have to be braked. But again, if you're going down quite a steep gravel descent and the trailer isn't braked, it's far more likely to push the back end of the Jeep round on the hill, and you get a jackknife going down the hill, and that's bad. That could cause damage to the vehicle. So I think it'd be sensible to put brakes on it. Now, the easiest way of putting brakes on here in New Zealand is the hydraulic brake system. Cable operated and stuff will be quite difficult to do. It'll be drum brakes. That I think will be very difficult to get the right PCD, but I'll explore the possibility, but I think most likely it'll be disc brake hydraulic. Reconnecting, we're back. Excellent. Okay, maybe you lost that bit, but no, I think it'll be disc brake hydraulic, just for clarification. Not too sure on how we're going to do it just yet. Needs research, but I really, if I can, want to keep to the Jimny PCD, so I can use the same wheels. Jim Haynes, you can use some of the tubing left over from the go-kart. No, I'll have to buy some proper steel for the trailer, to be fair. The tubing is way too lightweight for a trailer. Now then, Sheldon, solid axle. Perhaps my race car trailer, side-by-side trailer, is a solid axle. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Overbuilt automotive. I guess your pie's all good until some substitutes real meat with glowworms. Ooh, I don't want that. Mike Adams. Too bad you can't figure out some kind of swivel casters type tire under a rack. Swivel type casters tire type under a rack. Not too sure what you're on about there, Mike. I'm sure it's an extremely good comment. Figure out some kind of swivel casters type tire under a rack. Are we talking? Don't know. Sorry, don't get that one. Oh, right. Okay, we've come to the end of the comments. I've caught up with those. We're an hour and 54 minutes in. Like I said, Benjamin turned up the other day, just before Christmas, and we had Christmas lunch together, and he brought some crackers. And we've got good old Father Christmas there, fixing his car. Look at that. Oh, his sleigh, actually. He's fixing his sleigh, isn't he? Nice. Obviously, yes. He's got a V8 in the back of his sleigh by the looks of it. King Chrome, obviously, have done these. Sorry, Teng Tools. If you've got any Teng Tools crackers for next year, Happy with that. And in the cracker, this is the one that I won, came some stuff. Look at this. We got a screwdriver that takes all the different size bits. Very, very useful. It's not a ratchet type, it's a fixed one. And of course, a lot of bits to go in it as well. So thank you, Benjamin, for that. That's very, very cool. Very happy with that. So we're going to put those somewhere in the toolbox and use those. In addition, we got a few jokes. So here, brace yourself. We're going to get some Christmas jokes out of the way. There's actually quite a few in here. Bear with me. Because the cracker box came with 4 crackers in. Oh, yeah, got it. Okay, put that over there. So, joke number 1. Oh, we've got loads. What's a kangaroo's favourite music genre? Okay. What's a kangaroo's favourite music genre? Prepare yourself. Hip hop. Seriously. The next joke. Which Australian animal can jump higher than a tree? Holy moly. All of them, because a tree can't jump. Merry Christmas on that one. Right, we've got a few more to go, so bear with me. Oh, why can't motorcycles hold themselves up? So why can't motorcycles hold themselves up? Oh, they're too tired. Okay, what do tradies do at parties? What do tradies do at parties? They raise the roof. I didn't write these. I'm sorry, I didn't. Okay, we're halfway. Bear with me. Who is, you'll probably get this one, who is a kangaroo's favourite Friends character? And Friends being the US series, the comedy series. Who is a kangaroo's favourite Friends character? Obviously, has to be Joey, doesn't it? I know, I didn't write these. Oh, this is a good one. You like this. Why did Darth Vader turn off the light? Why did Darth Vader turn off the light? He prefers it on the dark side. Seriously. Pretty sure they could have found some better jokes. Right, here we go. King Chrome. Joke number 7. Did you hear about the 2 guys who stole a calendar? Must be one of the Andy Mechanic calendars, obviously. Anything of any value. Did you hear about any of the 2 guys? Hear about the 2 guys that stole a calendar? Yeah, they both got 6 months. Boom, boom. Basil brush. Boom, boom. King Chrome. Right. Why did the teddy bear... This is the last one, by the way. So, if you don't like jokes, then, well, obviously you're not going to like these jokes. Why didn't the teddy bear eat dessert? So why didn't the teddy bear eat dessert? Because he was stuffed. There you go. That's the jokes done. Thanks, Ben. Did we get any comments on that one? Simon, here we go, look. Simon says you can use a cam to work a slave cylinder for the brakes. So the trailer comes forward, the disc brakes come. So the trailer comes forward, the disc brakes come on. Yes, well, here in New Zealand, they have a master cylinder set up on the hitch. So you just buy the hitch and it's already set up. So the hydraulic stuff is really, really easy to do. The only downside is if you get a fracture in the hydraulic line, anywhere in the hydraulic line, you lose all brakes on the trailer. It's not 2 separate lines. It's it's a bit, and I've come across quite a few with leaks and things. But if it's all new, it should be fine. Pete Neves, everyone have a great new year. I've got to go. No worries, Pete. Thanks for joining us. I've got to sign off shortly. It's 2 hours in, so Mrs. Mechanic's going to go mental now. I'm way over time. J. Billy Josh. Hello, Andy. Hope your new year is good. I'm sure it will be. I really appreciate that, J. Billy Josh. And likewise, hope you have a great 2023. Mike Adams, I'm talking about a single tyre to go under the rack or on a swivel for a support, the weight at the back, so you could use the receiver element. Ooh, geez, I wonder how the police would see that. I don't think they'd like that at all. To have a 5th tyre, another wheel at the back of the vehicle making contact with the road, even if it's on a I could say a caster swivel. it's trailing. Very neat idea. I like that. But it would have to have, obviously, suspension built into it to give when the vehicle's going over the terrain. Otherwise, it's going to start to lift the back of the Jeep off. Then you're only on 3 wheels and it gets a bit cockly. I think that's a great idea. I think putting that into practice from an engineering perspective and a legal perspective would be an absolute nightmare, and making it reliable. And there is a potential where it could actually overstress the back of the vehicle going up. If you were to go through a real deep gully and you ran out of suspension travel on that 5th wheel, it's then going to lift the rack up and apply a lot of force in the upwards direction, which the tow bar absolutely isn't designed for. So I'll thanks for the suggestion. I see way too many pitfalls with that, especially the legal element to it. I don't think it's going to work. Not for this application. And I don't think it would even be legal because it wouldn't be classed as a trailer. I know you can have trailers with single wheels because I did a motorcycle trailer for one of the tool girls years ago that had a single wheel behind her Gixxer 750. But behind a car with a single wheel and it's not even pivoting, I don't think the cops would like it. I think they'd stop you just to take a look, and they'd be very, very confused. I've never seen anything like that done before, and most likely it's not legal because it really would be classed as a 5-wheel vehicle, and that's going to confuse the crap out of them. Is that? Sheldon, obviously need 10 tools Christmas jokes. I think so, Sheldon. Mrs. Mechanic said, you can read these out on your live stream. So, okay, we can do that. Not too sure. Was there a good one in those 8? I don't know if there really was. Anyway, crew, I think that brings us to the end of the live stream. We're 2 hours and 2 minutes in on this first day of 2023. And so many people have joined. I hope you enjoyed the little wander around the little Jimny, and it was pretty basic, I know. I'm still getting used to what the vehicle's got and all the various features. I want to do a proper video of a walk around covering a bit more technical detail. We'll be doing that in the wild, on the trail. We'll find somewhere to pull up and we'll get a few, bit of footage of it driving through various little potholes and gullies and bits and pieces just for a bit of fun. But until I get around to doing that, this sort of hopefully is just introduce the vehicle to you and to say, well, we got a new Jimny. Yay, we've got it. We've got the bike. We've got the little Jeep now. We've got everything. All the big stuff's done for the trip. And even if I don't get any accessories put on this little Jimny, I feel quite confident that even in its standard format, it would actually complete the journey without too much of a problem. I'd like to get a few accessories on. I think the bull bar and the winch are pretty important for self-recovery because we're very much in the middle of nowhere. It'd be nice to have an awning on it, for shade if we want to stop and have picnic lunch somewhere. To do that, you need a roof rack. So there's a few bits and pieces that are a real must. All depends on finances. Who knows? See how things pan out. Oh, geez, you guys are going really fast on here. Overbuilt Automotive. Be blessed all. Thank you, Overbuilt Automotive. You too, sir. John Dwyer, Happy New Year. Lord Andy, and oh, geez, look, I got this in the post. Don't go yet. This is the proof. I've got proof of the lordship. Wow, look at this. We've got this out of the envelope. Anything else? Did they send me any money back? No, there's no money in there. So there's no refunds. Dear recipient, they go on to say on here, I'll read this quickly for you. Dear recipient, it is the utmost and absolute pleasure to deliver unto you the physical manifestation of your title and certificate, bearing witness to the purchase of your plot or plots of dedicated land in Scotland. On your certificate are the details of your title as well as your holdings. We thank you deeply for your purchase and sincerely hope that you will derive a great deal of enjoyment from your ownership of the land. So it says I own the land, it belongs to me. The experience of being a lord or a lady and the unexpected benefits such titles may usher into your life over the years. If your purchase is intended for a loved one or friend, we do wish that they will delight in this as well. Please do not hesitate to write to us. Should there be anything we can assist you with, we shall always be more than glad to help on behalf of established titles. Well, that's a very nice letter. Okay, and this is the certificate. It's got like a little crease in it. It makes it authentic, doesn't it? There you go. The certificate proving that I am now Lord Andy. Very happy with that. Lord Andrew Robert James Young. I won't read the whole thing. It's all signed and it's nice thick paper, so it must be genuine, right? There you go. Lord Andy. Need to get that framed and put it up in the workshop somewhere for sure. Right, that's it. All done. Welcome to 2023 for those that are already in it, those that are just about to step into this next year. Good luck, have fun, stay safe, be healthy, and don't forget, do what you want to do because it's your life. Have fun, and if you're umming and ahhing and sat on the fence about doing something, take it from me, roll the dice, give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? Okay, crew, see you. I'll see you next Sunday. Let's do one next. I'll see you next Sunday, 8:30 a.m. All right, guys. Cheers. Over and out.